Hi, this is Julie with Beadaholique, and in this video I want to show you how to add glitter to Gel du Soleil, which is a UV resin. And in the process we're going to make a really fun pair of earrings. So I have an example right here that I've already done, and you can see how sparkly and glittery this is. And it is just a simple bezel by Nunn design. This is what the bezel starts out looking like, and a pretty earring hook. So you don't actually need a lot of supplies for this project, but you will need some glitter. I've got some in Aquamarine right here, and I can take the lid off. There you go, you can see that just sparkles. And then I've got a little small bottle of Gel du Soleil. Again, this is a UV resin. In terms of the tools you're going to need is a scrap piece of wire. I have an eye pin here that got a little bit mangled, so I'm going to use it. You're going to need some platform that's solid and pretty sturdy to transfer your piece to the UV light. You are going to need a UV light or be in a sunny climate where you can use the UV rays of the sun. You're going to need a pair of chain nose pliers and a pair of gloves. And the technique I'm going to show you is really going to maximize this sparkle. So let's begin. I'm going to take my bezel and I'm going to put it down on my little platform. Then I'm going to don my gloves, and I can actually get rid of my chain nose pliers right now because that's for adhering the earring hook. If you're not familiar with UV resin, it is a 1-part resin, and it cures in about 15 minutes in sunlight or a UV lamp. Now, I really like it for this project because we're going to be doing 2 layers of resin, so really the UV resin is ideal versus waiting several days for a 2-part resin to cure and then do its second layer and waiting another couple days. So again, I just want to show you the finished piece that we're going to achieve, and it's got a really nice smooth dome on the top. It's a low dome. I don't like over doming UV resin, but you can get a little bit of a dome, and you can see it just sparkles brilliantly. So to begin, go ahead and take a pinch of your glitter and sprinkle it into your bezel. Now I want to cover that entire base, but I don't want to fill the bezel with resin. I just want to make sure the bottom part is covered. There we go. You will get resin everywhere, so just make sure that your work surface is clear of anything that you don't want to get glitter on. So I'm just going to undo the cap, and I'm going to squeeze drops of the UV resin into the bezel. I'm just dropping on top of that glitter. And you can see the more I add, it's starting to spill out to the sides. Now I don't want to overfill this. Like I said, I want to do this in 2 segments, so I don't want to put too much. So I'm just going to wait a minute and let that kind of spread out. And I'm happy with that, so I'm going to go ahead, seal it back up. And now for maximum sparkle, I'm going to sprinkle some more on top. We're going to take this very carefully, move this aside, and we're going to transfer it to our UV lamp. So it's going to go off camera for a moment as I slide it off my desk here. Okay, got it picked up and I'm holding it level and I'm putting it into the UV lamp. I'll set a timer for 15 minutes. I'll come back and I'm going to do that top coat to create that slight dome with another layer of UV resin. I've waited 15 minutes, so I'm going to pull this guy out and show you what we have so far. So I can actually pick him up. It is fully cured. So we've got the bezel setting with the glitter on top of the resin, and it is hard. It's cured. It's only been 15 minutes, but that's all the time it takes. So I want to show you now a comparison of the finished one versus this one. So you can see it is brilliantly sparkly. And you could just finish and be done right now. You just put the earring hook on. That glitter is not going to go anywhere. You'll rub off a little bit that's maybe just kind of laying on top of the resin, but most of it is embedded down into the resin and it is secure. But we want to take it a step further and really put a nice, smooth, clear dome top coat of the resin on top of it so you can see what the difference is here. So to do that, I'm going to put it back on our card. We're not going to add any more glitter. We're just going to add more of the UV resin. And again, just one drip at a time. You can see it really intensifies the color of the glitter and also the sparkle. Now we don't want to overdo this. We don't want to create too high of a dome, which we would run the risk of it collapsing. So this is where your scrap piece of wire, or in my case, a kind of mangled head pin comes in handy. I'm going to take some of that resin and start pushing it to the side, very carefully and very slowly. I can tell I actually do need a little bit more resin. I know my hand is in the shot here, but sometimes you just need to have a little bit more control when you're squeezing this. Okay. There we go. And put the lid back on. And now I am going to push that resin very carefully to the edges. Whenever you're working with resin, whether it's a UV resin or it's a two-part resin, make sure to go slow. It's really something that is an art, and it takes a little bit of time to kind of develop your skill level for it, but it's important that you do every step and that you don't rush anything. So always do these projects when you have plenty of time to devote to them. You're not going to feel rushed. Okay, I'm happy with that, so I'm going to go ahead, carefully again move this, so I'm going to pull it off the table so you're not going to see that in frame, but then I'm going to put it right back in the light. Okay, another 15 minutes and we'll be ready to add the earring hook. So 15 minutes has passed. I'm going to pull this guy out and he is fully cured. So I'm going to wipe some of the glitter away from the edges. And you'll see that I can touch it, I can put my fingernail in it. It's really nice and smooth and wonderfully sparkly. So we have a match to the one I did ahead of time. To add our earring hook, we're just going to take the hook, open the little loop the same way we would open a jump ring, slide on the loop at the top of the bezel, close that little earring loop back up, and we have our pair of resin and glitter earrings. And we just did this in a very short amount of time for a resin project. If you're used to a two-part resin, you'll know that this project would have taken a lot longer, but we have a pair of earrings that is ready to wear right away. If you enjoyed this project, please check out our other ones as well as our other videos at Beadaholique.com.